Hi everyone, I'm George Loumakis. I am the program leader for the MSc Environmental Management as Jen introduced me. I'm accompanied in thought today by Luca, who is the program leader for the London version of this program. And I'm here today to talk to you about why you should join the MSc, what you can expect from the city, Glasgow and London, although I don't know London that much. And hopefully I can give you a couple of pointers about what we will be doing. So again, the university has a motto, and it is called the University of the Common Good, or the University of the Common Weal in the Scottish language. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because we're trying to emphasize that everything we do in terms of what we're teaching or what we're researching has to pay back effectively to the public. We're a public university, but our main interest will always be that what we do can at some point become good for the general public. We don't want to stay in our own bubble, as you can imagine. I have a couple of pictures, as you can see. One of them is in Glasgow, one of them is in London, and the other one is from New York, where we used to have a campus, but not anymore. So, GCU is a very international university. And when I say international university, I'm not only talking about the fact that a lot of our staff members are international or that a lot of our students are internationals. I'll talk about that in a while, but I'll talk about international collaborations we have had. I'll talk about other campuses we have had and so on. We have ongoing collaborations with Mauritius, with Oman, with Bangladesh, and with South Africa. And in terms of staff members, the staff members that you will see at the MSc come literally from everywhere. Out of the top of my head, I can think of staff members that will be teaching in the MSc that are Greek, such as myself. We have people from Poland, people from Scotland, people from Nigeria, people from England, everywhere. In terms of our students, we have a very wide array of student population. We have large populations coming from Pakistan and Nigeria, but we also have people from Ghana, Cameroon, general Europe. We have had people from the US, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, India. To be honest, I cannot think of many countries that haven't been represented at some point or another in the MSc. Currently, the MSc has a very big and healthy population. We're sitting at around 170 students, with roughly 90 to 95 of us being in Glasgow and the rest being in Scotland. Now, the university on its own is made up from three schools. We have the School of Health and Life Sciences, SHLS. We have the School of Business and Society, GSBS. And we have the School of Computing, Engineering and Built Environment, SCIBI, which is where this MSc is taking place in. The idea of the MSc is to give you a very good understanding of what it is to be an environmental manager, to give you insights about problems that are faced in the environment, give you the tools that you need in order to tackle these, and effectively it builds up on what I was saying before about internationalization. When you're studying environmental management, one thing that you will learn is that pollution, environmental problems, greenhouse gas emissions, whatever, recognize no borders. It is an international problem, and as such, we need to provide international solutions. And this will be at the very epitome of everything you're doing at the MSc. Our MSc is accredited. We're currently accredited by the Institute of Environmental Management and Assessment, AIMA, and we're going through reaccreditation from the Chartered Institution of Building Services Engineering, CIBSE. That effectively means that as a student and as a graduate of this program, you can become a member of those organizations. As a student, you're entitled to a free student membership for that, allowing you to take part in further webinars, trainings, and everything else that these organizations might actually be offering, on top of opportunities for placements and job opportunities and so on, but this will come directly through the organizations. In here, on the slide, I'm listing other organizations that have accredited other GCU programs to show you effectively how popular and good university is in terms of what we're offering. An accredited program, apart from offering an extra tick that says to you, I have graduated from a program that is accredited, ensures another layer that shows how good quality we are. At the end of the day, apart from our own internal qualities that we want to make the best available program and so on, Our external bodies that accredit us give us that extra layer of protection. We're not allowed to do things that wouldn't be good and things like that. So all in all, it is a very good thing to be in an accredited program. Now, there are many other MSc in environmental management or environmental science out there. I'm not going to lie. If you look at them, you will find at least 5 programs currently running in the UK. What makes us unique is the approach we take. Most of the other programs you will see are either pure engineering or pure science. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a scientist myself, and my roots will always be in science. But because environmental management encompasses so much more than pure science and engineering, I think you need a wider approach. You need to understand things about policy. You need to understand things about social justice when it comes to how we approach environmental problems. You need to think about equity, how we make solutions to environmental problems equitable for everyone. A purely engineering program or a purely science program usually doesn't touch on those aspects. We do. I'm not saying this to ditch on that approach. I'm simply saying that I think if we're talking about management, we need to be able to manage. And managing people and managing expectations is always a big part of that. We are very international, as I said before. The role as you will have as an environmental manager once you graduate is applicable everywhere. It is something that is in very high demand, but it is also extremely crucial in developing countries as well, because many developing countries face many problems with water management, waste management, energy management, resource protection, resource allocation, and so on. As such, an MSc Environmental Management will give you all of the skills and tools you require, especially for those regions. That doesn't mean, of course, that you can only find employment in those regions. I'm simply saying that there is always a very big demand there. Now, typical employment for graduates includes things such as regulatory and government organizations, environmental consultancies, the industry, and various NGOs. Throughout your studies, you will have access to industrial experts that will be coming for extra classes. We will be arranging site visits and so on. So you will be getting effectively information from all of those sides. Now, in terms of the modules we offer, one of the things that makes this MSc unique is that with the exception of 2 core modules, all of the other modules you take are up to you. You have choices. You will have to do 8 modules in your first trimester, 4 modules in your first trimester, 4 modules in your second trimester, and an MSc project, a dissertation, once you complete those. But with the exception of the 2 core modules, which are health, safety, environmental management, and investigative skills and professional development, all of the other modules are completely up to you. As such, you might have classmates that will have a completely different experience to you, mainly because you have chosen completely different modules. Our modules breakdown, as you can see, range. We have some technical approaches, things such as renewable energy technologies, GIS, and so on, lean more on the technical side of things. And we also have some purely theoretical modules, such as climate justice. We deal with social impacts and what it means to be just in what it means to have a good, just transition in terms of climate change. Again, the choices are completely up to you. I've included a couple of special modules in brackets. You see that our 2 blue modules are called energy core modules. Our 2 orange modules are called water core modules. Our 2 blue modules are called oil and gas core modules. And our 2 red modules are called waste management core modules. This MSc includes pathways. The pathway is effectively a sort of specialization you can take. What do I mean by this? Let's say you decide to choose renewable energy technologies and building and energy technology. That will allow you to have access to the energy pathway. If your project, your MSc dissertation, is also on an energy-related subject, then the MSc you will get in the end will still be the MSc in environmental management, but will also have a bracket called energy, showing that specialization you have in there. You can have a specialization in any of those 4 fields, and in theory, you can choose modules that would lead you to 2 specializations, but you will have to choose one. That being said, not all of the students decide to choose the specialization. You can still do the modules normally, but you simply opt out of the specialization name in your MSc. At the end, all of you will get the MSc Environmental Management. Whether you want that extra bracket to appear will be up to you. Trimester A modules, the ones in green, are delivered trimester A modules, the ones that have an A after, some in green, some in orange, and so on, are delivered in trimester A, which is running from September till January. Trimester B modules are delivered in trimester B, which runs from January till May. And trimester C is when some of you will be doing your projects, of course, depending on when you start. The program does have both a September and a January start as well. Now, typically the breakdown will be as such. If you start in September, you will do your first 4 modules between September and January, then your next 4 modules between January and May, and then your project between May and August when you finish the program. So the duration of the program is 1 year. If you opt in, though, to start in January, things are slightly different. You will start in January having your first 4 modules. Then during trimester C, the first trimester C, you will have nothing. Then from September till January, you will do your second trimester, followed by your project. As such, if you start in September, you're talking about 12 months of study. If you're starting in January, you're talking about 15 to 16 months of study. Your visa duration will reflect that, of course. It's not like if you start in January, you get the same visa, therefore you're getting kicked out before you have completed, as you can imagine. Not that we would kick people out as can be said. In terms of academic awards, all UK MSCs effectively come in 3 tiers. We follow a credit-bearing system. Each of our modules is 15 credits, and our project or dissertation is worth 60 credits. If you accumulate 60 credits, you can exit the program, if you so wish, with a postgraduate certificate. If you exit the program with 120 credits, you can leave the program again, if you so want, with a postgraduate diploma. And if you gather 180 credits, you can gather enough credits to have your MSc. I'm including an indicative timetable from Tri-A here to show you roughly what your teaching will look like. Most modules will have a 3 to 4 hour teaching slot. So depending on your module choices, you might need to be on campus either 1, 2, 3, or 4 days. Again, that all depends on your choices. This, of course, is indicative. It doesn't mean that next trimester we will have this. It might be different. In terms of slots, though, the slots will be more or less the same. So there are 4 hours of climate change and carbon management. Next year, we will still have 4 hours, assuming that there are no other changes. I'm using this as an indication to show you more or less how much time you're expected to spend on campus. Having said that, I want to make something very, very clear. You're signing up for a full-time MSc. A full-time MSc implies full-time work. When we're designing modules and we're saying to the students, you will have, let's say, 15 hours of classes per week, it doesn't mean that your obligations with the MSc finish at 15 hours. You have to put in a lot of extra work. This is why we consider it a full-time work, as you can see. In terms of delivery and assessments, most modules will have 2 modes of assessment. And I should start by saying that everything will be delivered on campus. Some modules might have an online presence as well, with some extra tutorials, extra webinars, and so on, but all of your teaching will be done on campus. In terms of assessments, all modules will have 2 assessments, and these would either be 2 courseworks, a coursework and an exam, a coursework and a class test, a coursework and a lab report, and so on. We have some exams at the MSc, but very limited. Effectively, we have 1 module with exams, 1 module with a class test, and 1 module with a 24-hour constrained test. Other than that, the rest are courseworks, technical reports, and so on. Of course, the breakdown will depend on the module itself. So, for example, Renewable Energy Technologies, which is one of the modules that I am leading, has a group coursework and an exam. Building and energy technology has a class test and a technical report. Climate change and carbon management has 2 courseworks, and so on. So at the end of the day, it depends on your module choices. We're also using an online environment where we host all of the materials that you will be using throughout your studies. That includes slides, lecture notes, anything that is recorded, webinars, and so on. I'm including a screenshot here of one of those. We call this GCU Learn. It is a platform built on Blackboard, and everything that you will never need will be included there, including links to books, reports, or anything else like that. The program has a lot of field trips and visits, which will depend, of course, on the specific modules themselves. I've included a couple of pictures in here. The top left picture is from a site visit we had at Whiteley Wind Farm, Europe's largest wind farm, where we went to talk effectively about wind and look at wind turbines. The bottom left picture is from a social event we had. We had a Ceilidh, which is a traditional Scottish dance, with some of our students. And the right-hand side, we're talking about, well, I'm showing you some site visits we had in London, where they went to see some waterworks, and then they had a visit from a company that was showing them how specific flow meters are used, that are used a lot in environmental analysis. So, with that being said, I can see there are some questions, but before I start answering these questions, I would like to give the floor to Chidozie, so he can give you his own version of the program. Chidozie is a recent graduate of the program. He's also the former student president, so I'm pretty sure he has many interesting things that he would like to share with you.
Thank you so much, George. It's good being on this side, speaking about the program, and also being able to encourage prospective students who are looking to come study the Masters in Environmental Management program. So without any much ado, my name is Chidozie Nwaigwe. I am from Nigeria. I am a recent graduate of the program, and the Masters in Environmental Management program is one I would say that has got a whole lot to offer, because besides being a regular master's program, it's one that has got depth. Like, you could go from studying about waste management to studying solar energy, renewable energy, to even going into planning. And there's a whole lot the program has got to offer. So I'll just give you a bit of my background and experience. So like George rightly said, I was the immediate past Students Association president of the university. And in coming to study this program, I was also fortunate to get a scholarship as well. So for those who are looking to maybe explore that, please do check on the website. There's a few things you could try your hands on and maybe land yourself one of those scholarships. And in my experience on the program, the staff members are super supportive. We've got a very good faculty. We've got PhD holders, professors who are excellent in their fields and who are always ready to support you with whatever questions you might have. Potentially, if you're an international student, you are coming to study in a place where you could reach out to lecturers informally. It's not a very formal relationship where you need to write a formal letter to say, "Hello, George, can I meet you next week?" You could just have a conversation. So there's that friendly demeanor. Everyone wants to support you. Everyone wants to see you grow. The lecturers are happy to share opportunities with you about job opportunities you could move on to, and things that could make you get better in your career. And in studying this course, I'll tell you some things that I learned that actually affected me in real life. So while studying, I think it was in my first trimester, George, who is here, did take us to see the Whiteley Wind Farm, which was the first time I was actually at the wind farm, seeing how wind energy really works. Now, moving on from my program, I did get a job as a graduate environmental consultant in a big company called RSK. And guess what? What I was properly doing there at the place I worked was mostly on wind farm and pre-planning processes. So a whole lot of experience I gathered from the on-site visit we had at the wind farm actually did apply to me when I got into the field working as an environmental consultant. And at the same time, George again did give us very good lectures on renewable energy. And I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship from the university. It's called a travel scholarship, where you're given £5,000 to do a project. So I was given £5,000 by the university, and I did a solar powered borehole project in my community in Nigeria. So it's a borehole providing the community clean water, but it was totally powered by solar energy. 1 year ago or 2 years ago, I'd never have done that because I never really knew anything about solar energy, calculating the load and what it required to power the system I needed to power. How did I get that knowledge? How did I get that project running? Thanks to George and thanks to the faculty of good lecturers. So it's just to tell you that there's a whole lot you gain by studying a program like this, because the people who teach it are really very great at what they do, and they are super supportive. And currently, I work in the university just now. I work as the international recruitment manager for international students, and we are we definitely do support students who want to come study at the university. So just to drop that, we would be in Nigeria in about 2 weeks' time. Myself and some colleagues would be in Lagos, would be in Abuja, and we'll be having some recruitment activities. So if you happen to be in Lagos on the 22nd of March, you could actually come meet us at a recruitment fair, and then hopefully I then get to talk to you in person because I'll be there. And that's on the 22nd of March, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Sheraton Hotel, Ikeja. So if you happen to be in Lagos, please do come around. Like I said, the Masters in Environmental Management program is one that is very deep. It goes beyond just the name environmental management. You could, with this degree, move on to planning, move on to policy making, move on to renewable energy, move on to working in sustainability environment. So it just gives you a key to a universe where you could actually pitch your tent in several places. So if you're at the point where you're considering if this course is the right thing for you, I'm a living experience to tell you that this is one that would actually put you in the right path for your career. And then talking about GCU as a university, this is one university that has got a whole lot of support for students, both home students and international students alike. There's a very healthy and growing international community here. So if you're coming here considering that you probably don't have family in Scotland or in London, depending on where you want to come study, you're probably coming to the right place, because there's a whole lot of people who you're going to interact with and get friendly with. The university is one that's very supportive, the systems are fair, and despite the fact that it is a master's degree course, it is one that you would actually be handheld for a while before you go into your research. So if you think probably this is a very big step and you're still very skeptical, at GCU here, there's a whole lot of support for students, from the Learning and Development Center, where they could help teach you about how to make a coursework right, like how to write your assessments and maybe how to reference and things like that. There's the world-class library in the university here. There's support for everyone. So rounding up, I'll just say, if you are still at the point of considering if this course is the right one for you, or if GCU is the right one for you, I'm here to tell you that this is actually an excellent opportunity for you, and you need to take it up. And definitely, I myself and every other person here would be happy to welcome you when you come on campus upon getting your visas. See you soon. So I'll hand over back to George to probably take on some of the questions that you have. And please feel free to ask any question you think I might have answers to, and I'll be happy to give answers to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chidozie. And thanks for your really good words, by the way. So let me get on some of the questions I see on the chat. Asaleni, I would love to understand more on the 8 project 180 credit MSc. Please elaborate on it. Okay, so every module that you will take at the university is worth 15 credits. After you manage to pass 4 modules, you will have been awarded 60 credits. And if at that stage, for your own reasons, you want to exit the program, you're exiting the program with a postgraduate certificate. If you continue studying and you gather an extra 60 credits, so you have 120 credits in total, you can exit the program again if you so wish with a postgraduate diploma. If you continue your 8 taught modules and your research project we have at the end, we call it MSc project, but it's effectively a dissertation, like the one that you have done in your undergrad, then you exit the program with an MSc. Every module is worth the same amount of credits. So it doesn't matter whether you take, for example, GIS or whether you take climate justice, they are both worth 15 credits. You have to get 60 credits in your first trimester and 60 credits in your second trimester. You cannot choose, for example, 75 credits from trimester A and then 45 credits from trimester B. Although that would still give you 120 credits, you cannot do more than 60 per trimester. Oluwasola, is it possible to combine energy and water option? Yes, of course. You can combine anything you want. You can choose any modules you want from any of the pathways. The only prerequisite is that if you want the pathway to appear as part of your MSc title, if you want to have the MSc being called MSc Environmental Management, parentheses, waste, for example, then you have to take the 2 waste modules. Other than that, no, you can choose anything. Ismail, please can you specialize in, let's say, oil and gas and still do the JS course? Yes, of course. Again, you can do any modules you want. If I may go back to showing you the modules, with the exception of health, safety, and environmental management and investigative skills and professional development, all of the modules are open to you. So you can choose any of those that you want. I should note that sometimes, due to staffing constraints, we might have to drop a module. This year, for example, unfortunately, due to staffing issues, we couldn't deliver the oil and gas industry here in Glasgow. We of course, let the students know about this, and we offer alternatives. But in terms of choices, yes, any of those modules that you can see here, apart, of course, from the 2 cores, are open to you. So you can choose anything you want. There are some modules that, from an academic point of view, have better synergies with others. For example, GIS is a very powerful tool used a lot in environmental management, but there is a very good synergy between GIS, the waste, and the energy modules, mainly because if you end up working in a consultancy in waste management or in energy management, you will probably be using GIS. So there is a very good synergy in there. But there isn't a prerequisite. You don't have to do one to do the other one. It is completely up to you. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Let me see if there are any questions in the Q&A section. I don't see anything else. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm more than happy to answer anything that I can. If I cannot, Jenny will be able to answer more generic questions regarding admissions and things like that. I'm not seeing any questions. My contact details, I don't remember if I put them on the slide. I'll put my contact details on the chat. If at any point you want to have a chat, let me know. Drop me a line, and I'll be happy to have a chat with you about anything regarding the program. This is my, oops, wait, why can't I add my email address here? George Loumakis at gcu.ac.uk. This is my email. Feel free to email me about anything. Oh, Ismail. So it is possible the oil and gas course won't be offered this September. Ismail, it will definitely be on offer for the London cohort. We know that for sure. I'm still working on getting the people I need in order to deliver the oil and gas modules for Glasgow. Unfortunately, it is too early to know that now. If you have a specific interest in the oil and gas modules, then in order to be certain, what you can do would be to apply for the London cohort. It is the same MSc. It follows exactly same structures, but again, it will have different teaching staff, but we're all part of the same teaching team, we have the same accreditations, we share modules, we share knowledge, we share projects, and so on. Effectively, it is an MSc being delivered in 2 campuses. The London campus will definitely be offering the oil and gas modules. For the Glasgow one, I cannot make any promises because I'm still looking at finding people that can offer this. I don't see any other questions. Please feel free to email me at any point if I can be of any help with anything.